Try these Ahrefs AI features and ace your SEO and marketing tasks today.
Ever done a site audit, only to find out there's 100 issues to fix? So now you have to export issues, add fixing instructions, pass everything to your developers, and then have to hunt them down over the next 2 months to make sure everything...
Need some help with your daily SEO tasks? Ace them with Ahrefs AI features. Let's start with keyword research. Quite challenging if you don't know where to start, right? Don't worry. Get unstuck with the Ask AI feature in Keywords Explorer. Just choose from a list of presets, type in a seed keyword, and you'll get a bunch of uncommon keywords that both you and your competitors might have never thought of. Did I mention this took us less than 5 seconds? The best part, you can also generate keyword ideas in other languages, as long as you add in your desired language at the end of the initial keyword. Great! So you now have a list of potential keywords, but you still have to manually check the top results for each keyword to determine their search intent before writing the actual content. Instead, you can scroll down to the SERP overview table for a given keyword and click on Identify Intents. This will tell you in simple terms what people are actually looking for when searching for a keyword. Use them as hints as to what content angles to cover. You can go all in on the top search intent or target multiple ones in the same article. The choice is yours. Fast forward, you already wrote an article based on the previous keyword research. It's ranking, hooray! But you can do better. What kind of optimizations should you start with though? Just plug in the article's URL into our AI content grader, along with its primary keyword and target country, and voila! Our tool will automatically identify the main subtopics covered by the top 3 ranking articles, compare them side by side, and score them on a scale to see how well or bad you've covered them. You'll also get suggestions on how to best strengthen your article for each subtopic with real-life examples of the words and phrases used. Alright, you're crushing it with your English blog. Your next big step is to localize your content. Normally, you'd have to hire experienced and expensive translators, make sure the translated keywords are localized properly, and create a localized content plan. What?
Hello everyone. Let's just see. Can you give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me okay? Just always good to test the sound, make sure we're coming through loud and clear. Okay, I see we've got somebody from Monteverde, from Uruguay. Encantado. Somebody from Minneapolis. Yeah, if you want to put in the chat where you're all from, always good to see where we're coming from. Thank you, folks. I can see the thumbs up and the hearing just fine. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes, let people come in. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, yeah, put in the chat what you're working on. Are you in content marketing? Are you in SEO? Maybe throw in how long you've been doing SEO for. Let's see what kind of experience levels we have here. Edward from Canada. Arkansas. Ooh, very nice. Gibraltar. Not so far from me. I am up in Barcelona. Oh, quite far, actually. Orange County. Very nice. Six years in SEO. Okay, I think there might be a little bit of delay between my my chat window coming up and you entering it, so bear with me. 18 years experience. Wow. 11 years. Okay, you folks have been there from the beginning. Okay, so we've got a lot of very experienced SEOs here today, so that's going to be interesting. Okay, so let's power on, shall we? So as you can imagine from the title of the webinar, today we're talking all about the new AI tools on Ahrefs and a little bit of our upcoming / newly released features. I think we can all say that at the beginning, maybe 3 years ago, there was a lot of initial AI coming out and it was quite gimmicky. But now I think we're into, real ramp up where I think most AI features that are being developed and tools are adding pretty good value to workflows. And I think that's something that Ahrefs really did from the beginning. So in the webinar today, we're going to talk about how we deploy AI for everything from the keyword research phase right down to content creation. We're going to touch on some new things like monitoring your brand over AI overviews and LLMs, which is brand new. And then we're also going to move into sort of the future where we think, things like site automation site optimization are slowly being automated for the best. Devs will no longer get that email of, can I update this meta description? But I digress. We will dig in. Okay, so if everyone can give me a bit of enthusiasm in the chat. Let's see. Excellent. That's just what I'm looking for. Okay, let's dive right in. So these were actually some of the original AI tools we put into the product. And they're really looking at fast forwarding some things that AI adds real value to and ultimately we waste a bit of time on. I think the classic one would be brainstorming new keyword ideas. I know when I worked in content, especially once a blog was a bit more mature, it was a bit of a brain-racking scenario as to how we're going to get new ideas, new content. And you look at your competitors, but sometimes you want to have something fresh. So I'm going to dive straight into a demo here. Let me just make sure it's loading okay. It is. Excellent. Okay, so really simple. Ask AI to suggest keywords, specifically seed keywords, which are always the hardest to get. Because I know once we have a few sort of 5 to 10 terms, you can use match terms. You folks have been doing SEO for 10 plus years. You know the game. But sometimes generating seed keywords is a bit of a pain. Now, what's really cool about this is we don't just leave you to sort of, work it out with the AI. We have 10 presets, which I think is really good because sometimes you don't always think about the way of framing it. And as we all know, the prompt is just as powerful as the response. So let's pick a generic term. Let's say, I don't know, project management. Now what we want to do, I've spelt it wrong, which is classic, is put it into, let's say, emerging trends. Give me emerging trends related to project management. And what the AI suggest is going to do, as we all know, because it's not anything crazy now, is it's going to give us a bunch of terms related to it. But what's really cool is you can get a bit more specific. So maybe these are too long tailed. Maybe we want to say, give me project and keywords with only 2 words, and it's going to add to the list. Right, perfect. So you can get some more generic terms, and then we'll set it to the United States, and if it loads, we're going to get the full list. Now, okay, so you've done your keyword research, you've got a bunch of terms, and now what's the next stage we generally need to do is we need to look at the SERP and identify what are all the different intents. Now, I don't know about you, but I definitely at the beginning of my content career spent a lot of time copying, pasting URLs, looking at content, looking at different angles people took and try to build a bit of content that was better or at least aligned with some of the intent. Identify intents just fast tracks all that and does it in seconds. So like in this example, we've got the overview for calligraphy. Very generic term, could mean anything. I'm doing it here because it's taking a long time to load today and I value your time. And you can see here, it's going to give you things like understanding calligraphy, learning calligraphy, calligraphy products. And basically, it's going to give you the chance to either, and if I was doing this, either pick a bit of content that I think I can hit all 3 of them, or be very focused. And in this case, I'm going to pick this one because this is where 55% of the traffic goes. So this is available anywhere there's a keyword list. So if I go back to keywords, it would show up in here. So risk management, we would click identify intents and it would generate here. I wonder if it's going to work or if it's going to load. It's going to take too long to load, so we'll move on. But again, it's about adding. It's not about taking away the sort of your expertise and where you add value. It's about speeding up something that was basically just a time suck, which I think we can all agree going through the SERP and pulling out the different intents was. And finally, AI translations. I don't know if anyone here has worked with translation companies or localization companies. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if it was a good experience or a negative experience working with a localization agency. Or a shrug if you've never done it. I'll wait for these to come through. Yep. Well, I will tell you, my experience was it was a lot of spreadsheets. It was a lot of emailing back and forth. It was a lot of then me taking those localized keywords and putting them into our Keyword Explorer and trying to find out what was appropriate. It was a pain. Now, we're not saying that this feature by any means replaces a very specialized translator, but again, it's going to speed up that keyword selection process. So let's look for, here we go. I've got a pre-made keyword list here of snacks. So popcorn, healthy snacks, whatever. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the AI feature and we are going to pick where to translate it to. Now, what's really cool about it is you're not just going to get the language, or sorry, the metrics for that country, but you're also going to get the different types of language. So we could go for Mexican Spanish, we could go for Peninsular Spanish in this case, and get the core translations for that specific region. We're going to pick just plain old Spanish. And what we're going to get here is not just the translation and the associated keywords, is we're going to get all the different variations. And I think anyone knows who's done any sort of localization, it can be a real pain because you've got two things to consider really. Not, there's sometimes 5 different ways to express something, but also as an SEO and a content marketer, you need to take into account things like keyword difficulty, intent, search volume. What this is going to do is this is going to give you all of that right up front. Plus things like the growth metric, which I'm a big fan of. That's going to tell you the increase in volume over the last 12 months, which kind of helps you pick sort of evergreen. And simply what you can do is just go through it, pick the ones you want for each. Let's go for healthy snacks saludables. And then we would form our new localized keyword list. We would just save that to a list, and then we could send that off to the localization agency or a specialist writer, and they would get to work on it. So, pretty cool stuff. Now, I know, I did forget to say, my colleague Michelle is in the chat to answer any of your sort of immediate questions. If you have any sort of generic questions about Ahrefs, we will address them at the end. But do we have any specific ones for the tools I've mentioned at the moment? I'll head this off with some pricing right now. So AI suggestions, search intents and translations are all available in our standard plan. So I'm assuming there will be some pricing questions. Okay, I don't see any questions coming through right now. If not, I'm sure Michelle will get it. Okay, so that covers the keyword research. So we've automated some things that really kind of suck and take a long time. Next, we are going to move on to content creation, arguably the part where you folks and specialist writers add the most value. I'm going to start with our AI content grader. This is a really good way, I've always found, if you have an article that's dropping in rankings and you're not really sure why, is to plug it into our AI content grader. So the tool is up in here on our new dashboard. I've got a report pre-made here, but simply you'd put in the article and the target keyword and the location you want. And we would put it up here. And what it's going to do is it's going to compare this article to the top ranking articles across the SERP and give you topic coverage. Now, why is this great? Because sometimes it's not, we've all moved on beyond keyword stuffing. As much as it was handy, it's Google has got more intelligent. So we're thinking about creating holistic sort of content that adds real value. Topic coverage is really good. You're going to get this really sort of top level score. You can see who's doing what great, and you can see where you're not covering things, and you see where you're doing things badly, but also you can see where you're doing pretty well. And what's also really cool is you're going to get AI suggestions here. Things like trends in affiliate marketing, add insights on mobile first affiliate. And these are things, again, you can just basically take, put them into a document and give to your writer. And it's a really good top level way, because if all these are green, it kind of suggests it might not be a content problem. But if you're in this situation where we're missing a few gaps, it's clear that maybe some on-page edits could really boost your rankings. So let's say we found our article and we know we want to improve it. Or maybe we want to write from scratch. Let's go to our next tool, which is the AI Content Helper. It is a very cool tool, something I wished I had way back when I started in content marketing. It's a very simple tool. If you already have an article, you simply enter your target keyword, now in any language. I think we cover 40 plus languages for this at the moment, the location you want to rank for. And if you have an article already, you just put it in there and it's going to pre-populate. Now, a new addition, something I will mention is really cool, is the brand kit. I think we all know the problem with sometimes AI suggestions is that they kind of come across in that very AI tone of voice. You know, it's very kind of almost academic, and that might not be the sound of your brand. So what you can do here is add your brand kit. Now, I better not do this actually, because we are on. Let's just generate a brand kit, and I will show you what it can do. This is in beta, so some teething problems like slow load speed is to be expected. Okay, here we go. So it's going to take your brand URL and it's going to pull these, pre-populate these data for it. So everything from, competitors, brand perspective, and this is where I think it really adds value, is the writing style. You get to dictate, much like you do with an AI prompt and telling ChatGPT how you want it to sound, the tone of voice, the persona, everything from structuring, formatting, and you can even put specific writing guidelines, like maybe you don't want the M dash, the obvious sign of AI. And once this is in, you can then apply that to anything the Content Helper is going to do, and it's going to reflect your tone of voice, and it's going to have some perspective about who you are, some context, I should say. So we will not save that and annoy the content team. So in the suggestions, can I get a topic that we should write about? We will do a live demo, and I will pick the most interesting keywords. Don't go too specific, it's SEO. The more niche we go, the harder the responses will be. But if you folks can put in there some topics you would like to maybe write content about, and we will do a live demo. Let's see. Anything coming through? I can see Michelle is on fire with your questions. Yes, I will cover the pricing of the content kits at the end, but I think Michelle's already answered it. Retirement benefits, product configurator, AI trends you can't ignore, retail assortment plan. Let's go for retirement benefits. Yeah, retail assortment planning. I don't know what that is. That's interesting. Okay. I'm going to go for retirement benefits. We will not put our brand kit on because, we don't care about that right now. So we're just going to put in the keyword. And this is the situation you'd be in if you were starting content from fresh. Like I said, if you already have a URL and you're looking to optimize it, you would dump it in here. And we will generate a new document. First thing you're going to see, and I think this is really why this tool stands out. There's lots of sort of content optimization tools that still do keyword stuffing. Is our tool is going to tell you, or is going to rather ask you to select the intent. So like we did for identify intents, we're going to look at the SERP for this keyword in the USA. You see we've got search volume and difficulty, and it's going to show us all the different intents we could try and hit based on the ranking ones. So you can see here, okay, we're probably not going to outrank a .gov, but we can see here exploring types of retirement plans and benefits. So I think it's fair to say most of us would optimize for this intent, as we're not going to outrank the government on that one. And we can see you can group by search intent, or you can just show the results, which is cool. So let's select this one and see where we go. A little bit of load. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to be... Okay, so we're going to arrive to the blank Word document, every writer's nightmare, but not to fear. So I think it's one thing that's cool to mention. If we did put in a URL here, this would all be pre-populated with the things you have, but also you can start to fill this out on the document as you write. So it'll give you things like suggestions for title tags. So what you're going to see here is a content score. So that is going to basically read your content. And the good thing is it's got some context about your website if you have a brand kit in there. And it's going to give you a content score and relevant topics to score for. So here you can see all the different topics it thinks we need to write about: financial assistance for pension plans, guidance, rules, etc. But this can be quite challenging to start with. So what we can do is have a look, at our competitors. So we can see here the H2s of our competitors, how the AI scores them. And this is a really good way to build a structure. Obviously, we would never recommend copying your competitors, but it's a really handy way to get sort of starting advice. But let's just say we started writing. I'm going to have to for an article focused on retirement benefits. Excuse me while I prompt ChatGPT to give me some content. Okay, so let's say we started to write. Now, obviously, we would not recommend that you just AI your articles. It's going to be poor for your readers and it's going to lose your voice. But what you can see here is the content score has updated. It's giving us the words we're hitting. And this is just the outline. So once you start writing, you're going to see this content score go up, but also you're going to see your topic scores. Now, this is what, again, makes this really cool. So you can see here, we are doing very well for planned rules and requirements. We're doing okay for spouse and survivor. Obviously, this will get, this score would go up based on the actual content we add. But what's really interesting is if we have something we score poorly for, we can just ask AI, what do you want to say about this? Let's see, we don't really cover it well. Okay, let's use one of the pre-prompts. What do my competitors say on the topic? And again, this is going to give you a really handy outline. And it's going to give you some some suggestions at the end of what to include. Here we go here. Your competitors. Now, what I think Ahrefs are really proud of on this tool is it's not just an AI content generator. It's not just fire in a keyword and, spit it out. That content ultimately isn't going to last, if everyone's doing it. What we want is to do the heavy lifting for you. Any good content writer or SEO worth their salt knows that it's not just writing what you know about the topic, it's also optimizing for Google, search engines, or LLMs as it's coming out now, which is basically SEO. And this is what this is doing. So you are going to add all your value by having your unique voice, sharing anecdotes, insights, quotes, whatever. And this is just going to help make sure that you're covering all the bases for SEO-wise. You can see here, it's going to give you things like generate your title tag. It's going to give you some examples from competitors, if you want to use them. Wouldn't recommend. Some ideas. Everything from the meta description. It's going to give you that as well. And again, we can go really into the detail on competitors. But again, one of the cool things about this is if we just do a new chat, this is just like any sort of LLM, but it's going to have the context of what you've written. You can basically ask it anything. Okay, so what are some interesting statistics I could include, for example? And it's going to look across the SERP and find relevant links for you. Here we go, social security. It's not going to serve you copy and paste, but you could, but again, we wouldn't recommend it. But it's going to give you the ideas. Another cool thing is, okay, what are some insights I could include that my competitors miss. When it loads, there we go. Integrating healthcare costs with retirement planning. That's a really cool idea. Again, it's a standard LLM here, but it's got the context of your article, what you're aiming to rank for, and if you have the brand kit, what your business does. So it's going to give you really, really actionable tips to improve your content. And eventually this content score, you know, you want to get it to 80s, 90s. A cool thing about this, I would say, is that generally when doing this is you don't want to push, like I wouldn't worry about getting an 85. Oh, okay, I would in this case because we only have headings, but I wouldn't worry about getting from an 85 to 100. I'd worry about getting from a 14 to a 60. And that's really going to help me out. Again, this is like more about the guidance and doing the heavy lifting for the research part than it is about just generating articles. Another cool feature that is coming is the internal links. Now, internal linking is always a bit of a pain. You know, you're searching your site for relevant keywords and sort of going through it. This is just going to automate that when it comes out, but we are not there yet. But when it comes out, that's going to add some really good value. Okay, so I'm assuming you folks have questions about these tools. If you do, throw them in the chat. I will say, I think Michelle has already answered this, but these are available in the content kit. This means even if you're on a starter plan, you can add this on. It doesn't require you to go, for example, to a standard. You can do this directly from a light. So if content marketing is a big part and you want to speed up those workflows and smooth things out, I'd really recommend this. I think the AI Content Helper is really, really impressive tool. And it's only going to get better as we keep investing in it. Let's see. Do we have any questions in the chat? I don't see any. Okay. In which case, I'll jump back to them if it's the lag in the chat. I will jump on to our free writing tools. Now, again, this is not something we, you know, it's not part of our paid plans, but I think they're really handy to know that they exist, particularly sometimes if you're stuck and if you don't have access to, you know, your normal ChatGPTs or whatever. And we have everything here. AI content detector, AI text humanizer, grammar checker. Let's pick this one, for example. So this is really good in the case that maybe you are blurting out a paragraph. Let's see, I'll get, give me 200 words on this topic. I'll just get ChatGPT to generate some text for me. Here we go. So again, we wouldn't recommend generating AI articles. You can obviously select the amount of variants you want. But here we are going to give you a tool that's going to try and humanize that and get rid of that sort of ChatGPT sort of scholarly tone they take. So we actually got an AI score. It could tell immediately that our text is AI generated. So here you can see that it's it's just switching up the tone a little bit. Really fun tool. Just go to this URL here, ahrefs.com/writing tools, and you can see them all. I've got a rewording tool, conclusion generator, everything you could need in your day-to-day. Okay, I'm just going to jump over to see if we have any questions. If you had that add-on, does it work for all users on the account? Yeah, if they are added users, yes. If you have paid additional users, yes, they can access it. Okay, let's dive on. Brand radar. Now, I think we all know that SEO and content marketing in general is changing. We're getting less clicks as more things appear on AI overviews. So monitoring your presence on that is going to be really important. You can't rely on traffic anymore as a sort of indicator. But fear not, we have a new tool, Brand Radar, which is great for monitoring your brand and topics across AI overviews. So you can see here that actually we have a couple of other databases included now that a lot of people will be excited about. I will touch on them in the end, but right now we're going to focus on Google AI Overviews. What is AI Overviews? I think you've all seen them. It's that Google Gemini generated result. Sometimes that's linked, sometimes it doesn't, particularly if it's informational. Most people will stop there and that'll where they get the response. So it's really important to know how you feature. So what we're going to do is, you can see, well, we could filter by location if we wanted. We could do full data set, but we are going to filter our results by a category. So let's actually say project management again. Okay, and just to narrow it down, we'll say software. Okay, so this is the category we're refining the results to. Then in brands, we have another lovely AI suggest. Let's say we are Asana. And it will suggest more while it loads. Okay, great. We can see we have 7,400 results. What this means is these brands have been mentioned in either the original search term or the AI overview. So the first thing you're going to see is a graph of mentions. This is really cool for basically gauging when these topics are mentioned, which of these brands show up most frequently. So we can actually see Asana is the most popular, though not by far. Obviously, Google AI Overviews is relatively new. We can see that it's slowly ramping up. And here we have the competitive score. So this shows you basically of all the search terms that relate to these that have one of these in them is the total score. So it's the sum of everything in it. You can also see impressions, obviously a bit more volatile. Those of you who have done SEO for a while be familiar with that. And another cool thing is you can see the domains actually that are driving a lot of the visits for these terms. By far, I think, in my opinion, one of the most useful things is the actual keyword or sort of prompt, I guess you'd call it now. So these are the terms that the AI overview is showing up for. So here we can see project management tools, no surprise, it's mentioning them all. Best management software, you're going to see the country it scores for and the volume. But what's really useful here is we can see the keyword of the overview contains, let's say, these guys. But we can add a rule where we can say, let's say the overview only does not contain Asana. Let's get rid of it here. And what that's going to do is that's going to show all the responses. Oh, maybe I put it in. Let's do keyword REI overview does not contain Asana. Here we go. This is going to give you all the responses where your competitors show up and you do not. And you can see the corresponding links, which is also really cool. And then obviously you can take these and put them into Site Explorer, or you can do the same here. Take these, click them, and they're going to open up in Keyword Explorer, which is going to give you all the data around it. And here again, you can see the site links for the AI overview as well. So a very powerful tool, which is only going to, this has only been out for a few months, so this is only going to get more and more in depth as we improve it and spend more time on it. So do we have any questions about Brand Radar initially? I will come back to ChatGPT and Perplexity in a hot minute. Let's see what we've got going on in the chat. Okay. No questions for now that I see. Well, we will come back to it. We'll circle back to ChatGPT and Perplexity in just a moment. So that was a quick overview of Brand Radar. I'd really recommend you spend some time on the tool, play about with your brand, different categories, and see what you can discover. You don't need to put brands in, you can just put the category as well, but I'll show you that when we do Perplexity. Okay, Batch AI. This is another really, really cool tool. So I think one of the things we all maybe kind of have struggled with in the past, and certainly in the early days of SEO, was emailing your dev for some basic changes, or logging into your it into your site and making all those changes manually. Not anymore. So let's go into, now I did have to switch accounts. Oh, that's not what I want. I did have to switch accounts before this, so I hope this works. Okay, so batch AI, let's see. This is where we're going to go into our site audit, right? Site audit, we now have always on audit. That's really cool. It means it's always checking your site consistently, so you're going to find issues really fast before they affect your ranking. No need to schedule crawls anymore, but we're not talking about that today. But we're going to talk about batch AI. So let's say we find an issue like this. Meta description is too long. Okay, these are actually all published. What you can now do now is, well, we can actually filter by the published, draft, and all that. We can now batch AI them. So what that means is we can either, I forgot to do it. This is actually already published, but you can ask AI to generate you a single meta description that'll be to the right length, that'll be relevant to the article. Or if you have, in this case, maybe thousands, you can do them all. You can do titles, meta descriptions. It'll give you the total number of pages, and you can generate them all in this case, and then you simply click publish. We do this via either JavaScript or CloudWorks setup on integration. I'm not going to do that right now, as I don't want to change all the meta descriptions on the site, but you can even do things like overwrite existing drafts with AI. So again, that takes what really is, let's say, a low value add task, but an important one for SEOs, and just automates it. And you know, Google rewrites, what is it, 40 to 60% of meta descriptions. So while it's important to have accurate ones, it doesn't necessarily mean you want to spend that much time on them either. This is going to be, again, we're going to add more tools to this as it gets more features to this as the tool develops. So watch this space. More and more of site audit and basically site optimizations are going to be optimized, going to be automated. And that's, I don't know about you, but for me, that's a big bonus. Okay, and batch AI, sorry, I should mention, is available via a project boost. So it's actually the max boost, where you can do it based on the individual projects. So you don't need to do it for every single, let's say, site you have in your desktop, in your dashboard. You can just pick the most important ones and boost them. Here you can see they start at 1875 and they go up. I think it's Pro and Max. Okay. Let's check the questions. Now, there is a bit of a lag in the chat. What is the cost? Let's see, what has Michelle answered? Yes, I can see. Yes, Brand Radar is an additional $89 per month. I think that's the only one we have. Yes, it is. Okay, let's talk about newly released. We're going back into Brand Radar, but we're getting the databases that everyone wants, right? Everyone's talking about AI, AI visibility, and we have added ChatGPT and Perplexity. Now, I'm going to head off the initial questions. These databases do cost additional. These are just released in the past week, so it's just fresh out of beta, but they will be $99 each. But as we all know, these are now some of the most important ways people are discovering your brand and business. So by all means, I would argue worth the investment. So let's take a different example. Let's say we want to look at, I don't know, camping. And what we can do here is it will auto-suggest different subtopics within it, which is a slightly different version of the same thing. Now you can see this only started on May 2025. We will be expanding the database as we go on, but you can see again, different, I guess we'd call them prompts here. What is hip camp, things like that. How much are Coachella tickets? That's very, I can imagine that's very specific. Here we can add rules about domains, but let's go back to the brand example, which I think we all like. Oh, we can just exit here. Let's say let's go back to good old project management. Project management, and we are Asana. And we're looking for Asana in either the prompt or the response. And we will get it to suggest more. And again, it's the exact same outlay as AI overviews, but again, you're getting this for ChatGPT, and we have the same for Perplexity. So here we can actually see Trello, interestingly enough, is mentioned most times. And again, we can see here the different prompts, the projection of volume. And let's try this where we want to, let's pick Asana again. It does not contain Asana. How to create an app. So yeah, you can see there are certain informational terms. Okay, how to use monday.com, no surprise there. And certain informational terms that you don't show up for. It's another way of sort of optimizing your brand visibility. What's really cool is when you go into, let's put in software here just to narrow it down actually. What's really cool here is we can see actually how we're being positioned, which is really key, particularly for product marketers. You can see Trello uses boards and cards, Asana provides task project tracking, Microsoft did a robust tool. So it's a really good way to see how actually AI is considering your positioning and what it's giving you as an answer as. You can see here, it goes through them all here whenever you're giving a list. So these responses are great. And again, you can click these and put them into Keyword Explorer. So this is only going to get better. I mean, this is going to be, one of the futures of SEO. If you're looking for how do I show up in AI overviews, we have an article on that written by our lovely Louise. I think Michelle, if you could put it in the chat. I think it's called AI Overview Ranking Factors. Don't hold me on that exact title, Louise. I'm sorry. So yeah, that is Brand Radar with ChatGPT. Freshly released. Previously, this was an upcoming feature when we did this webinar a week ago, but it's just been out with Perplexity. And you can do a lot with it. I'd really recommend, playing around with Brand Radar if you can. MCP servers. Now we're getting nerdy. Right, let me get my notes to just double check what the definition is. Model context protocols. Okay, I don't know if anyone has heard of these. You can put in the chat if you have. But basically, these are when massive data sets or software providers are creating a bridge between themselves and AI interfaces and letting AI interfaces use their data sets to answer questions. So I'm going to try a live demo. I set this up earlier today. I am by no means a technical profile. So give me, I'll tell you what, I have a pre-prepared one. Thank you, Michelle. AI overviews, yes. I have a pre-prepared example, but if somebody wants to give me an example, and the context is you have Ahrefs data and you have ChatGPT interface and you can ask it stuff. So while you're thinking, I'm going to show you what I have. Okay, is that showing up? Right, perfect. So this was the prompt I gave it. My blog is ahrefs.com/blog. I'd like you to find me my top 2 competitors based on common keywords, show me their 3 top performing articles, and give me the outline of how to rank for these pages. So here you can actually see that it's accessing our MCP. It has found our 2 top competitors based on common keywords. It's then going to go through and it shows you all the working. Okay, we have a little failed fetch there. Key takeaways, their top performing articles, our tool pages, comprehensive guides, even gives us competitive advantages and ranking strategies. And then here is the analysis and the blog. Okay. So this obviously is very early in its iteration. And I think there'll be a lot of us finding out how to use it. But I don't see any prompt. No one has any prompts they want to try in the chat? No? I might come back to it. But anyway, this is very early in the iteration. I think obviously the possibilities for this are endless. This really, I think for those days where you just want the information in front of you, and then obviously we'd recommend you then go dig into the details after. But for getting that high level scope, when you're looking for competitors, you're looking for insights, places where to start, I think these MCPs are going to be super powerful. And particularly as we get more advanced with prompting. You know, it's all about the quality of your prompt dictates the quality of the response. Okay. And finally, bot or not. This is a brand new feature we just released, and let's go into here. Okay, let's pick a blog article. Actually, let's pick the one. One second. Oh, this is not loading. Here we go. Let's pick a blog article, put it into Site Explorer. We're going to go into Page Inspect. And this is going to give us an AI detector. Now, obviously, this is from us, so you know we don't do. I believe our content writers don't do any AI generated content, so that's no surprises. But this is also going to give you the breakdown of the potential source. Now, I guess this is early stages, and there's a lot of questions we got about the use case for this. For me, I think it's really clear when we're looking at, particularly when you've got freelancers. If you're paying them, you know, a premium for high quality content, it's a really good way to check that they're actually producing high quality content and adding value. That doesn't mean there can be no AI in it, but it means that it shouldn't be getting a 90% AI score. And I think the second one for me is also when you're looking at competitor content, if it is, you know, 80, 90% AI generated content, it's ranking 1 or 2. For me, that presents an opportunity for you to go in, add real value, distinguish your content, do something different that AI isn't going to write, and then hopefully users will respond to that and you will outrank them. So it's a really cool tool. Again, it's just been released recently. This was previously in the coming features. But you can see also it highlights the little bit of AI it detects as probably AI here. And if it was a full article, this would all be yellow or red if it had ChatGPT in here as well. Okay, and here we go. I'm just reading some of the questions here, trying to understand. Yep, I can see Michelle's answered that. Correct. We're just letting Claude into our data, and it's going to do all the analysis and all the parsing. So. Yep, and as Michelle said, just Claude and Perplexity for now, but ChatGPT is coming soon. Okay. Right, that reaches the end of our webinar, and it gives us 15-ish minutes for questions. So, is there anything you would like to know? This is going to be a little bit challenging with the lag in chat. Let's see. Do we have any previous ones we didn't talk about? Here we go. Sorry guys, there is a bit of a lag. How does Ahrefs analyze ChatGPT answers while they're different for each user? Ooh, that's a good question, Olga. I guess the honest answer is I don't know at the moment. Because they are different for each user. But I'll tell you what, Olga, if you leave your email with Michelle, we will speak to our dev team and get back to you on that. Unless, Michelle, you have the details on that and you want to throw in an answer. But how we control for the difference in users, I don't know. Any other questions? Let's see. The chat has gone quiet, folks. Well, wait and see if anything comes through in the next few seconds. In the meantime, I will shamelessly plug our Academy and blog if you want to learn more things about Ahrefs. Our blog is constantly updated with some of the highest quality content on SEO and content marketing out there. We are regularly doing studies, and I am regularly in awe of how good our writers are, and to be honest, they're a pretty good argument for non-AI generated content. Beyond my tech abilities, though, I followed up with the development team. Thank you, Michelle. Olga, great question. You stumped both of us on that, but we will do our best to answer it. Well, folks, if that's all, I guess we wrap up. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for coming, and until next time. Bye-bye.